I guess that's all we're doing with that.
Michael, come on.
No,
Contribute.
I'm not participating in that at all.
And then
Not
just
at
make
all.
like moaning sounds while you're being killed.
Yeah.
I'm dying. Oh.
I'm just saying, she sounded like she was having more fun getting choked than she was having sex with Bob.
Well, I mean, it was probably fun up until a certain point,
Yeah.
and then it stops being fun quickly.
She's like, oh, Bob. Oh,
Ooh, choke me. Oh.
Bob. Too much, Bob.
Cordless phones are safer, I'm just saying.
Cordless phones are safe. I'm not cutting that one little part and putting it with our previous discussion, Michael.
Oh no, we need to switch to Bluetooth headphones because these cords are
Yeah,
dangerous.
no. Michael Myers is going to be choking us all out.
There's a Michael sitting right next to us, Steve. What are we gonna do?
Listeners, if you've made it this far into the podcast,
It clearly wasn't me.
help
I
us.
didn't kill them both, I promise.
Oh my
You have
god.
a mask though.
Yeah, and a jumpsuit.
Yeah, well, I didn't bring either, so you guys are cool for tonight.
I mean, we don't know that. I don't know what you keep in your car.
It's just,
You always say, "Don't go near my car."
that's I've always been that way. What are you doing? Get away from my car.
Stop it! What are you doing near my car?
Shut up, PlayStation. Sorry.
This episode sponsored by PlayStation.
Any of you know the story of the Haddonfield Boogeyman? A man in a white mask. Or was it more than a man?
The blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
There's a reason we're supposed to be afraid of this thing. A man in a white mask.
He only knows how to keep moving and to keep killing.
Every night that he would escape,
What the hell do you do that for?
so I can kill him.
Evil dies tonight!
Happy Halloween, Michael.
I'm a ghoul.
I don't think that's what we're going for.
I'm a ghoul. Ghoul. Happy Halloween.
That could work, but
Yeah, there we go. I'm a ghoul. Happy Halloween.
Steve is still very concussed.
I am very concussed. And welcome to Every Film in the Book. I'm Steve.
I'm Danielle.
I'm Michael.
Oh my god.
Wow, he said his
Holy
name.
shit.
And happy Halloween, motherfuckers.
Happy Halloween. Now, this year, it's our first year of doing this show, and we kind of, Halloween's always been like a fun holiday for us.
We do enjoy it.
Michael's
yes.
throwing up right now thinking about all of our Halloween fun.
I like Halloween. Shut up.
Yeah. So we wanted to do something where we review, 4 movies in a series and release them to you guys one a week. So we ended up going with the Halloween franchise.
A classic.
Of course, and
Gotta
with
be.
the new Halloween Ends coming out, we're gonna do something special for that, where we actually go and see the movie in theaters, and then release our reaction to it, probably with a little bit of a video component.
Ooh. Wow,
So
we're
stay
spoiling.
tuned. Yes. Apparently
Michael's like,
Yeah,
what's
and
going on?
I didn't agree to it yet, so I'm hearing about all this the first time.
wait, no, dude, I definitely put this in your contract.
Yeah, you definitely signed
It
a
was
contract.
in your contract.
I literally signed 0 contracts.
Oh shit! Well, somebody signed Michael Pelton. It was weird. It wasn't me, I swear.
It was Michael
Well.
Myers.
Yeah. So on our list for this year, we have Halloween, the original from 1978. Then we're going to do Halloween 2018. Then we'll do Halloween Kills. And then finish it up with Halloween Ends.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
It's
hell
going to be a
yeah.
Halloween-filled Halloween season for y'all.
For y'all.
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 And Steve is concussed this week, so, we're going to...
Yeah,
We're gonna try to get through this without anything too crazy coming out of Steve's mouth.
Yeah, so forgive me ahead of time. I am not in control of my brain place.
Oh, all right.
Steve's just gonna be slower than usual.
Yeah, no. I mean, everybody's used to that. If you've listened to the show at all, I'm pretty slow.
Yeah.
You guys have to explain 90% of these movies to me. At least this one I kind of understand. This one's pretty simple. Crazy guy escapes. He goes after babysitters.
Crazy guy.
Crazy guy. He's crazy.
Call him by his name, Steve.
Oh, I'm
It's
sorry.
Michael Myers.
I don't know his pronouns though. I can't refer to him as such.
He, him, I'm pretty sure.
He, him. I don't know. We got that'll come out in Halloween Ends, I'm sure.
Oh. But yeah, everyone knows Halloween. It's fucking Michael Myers. He's a badass. At 6 years old, he stabs his naked sister in the chest. And
well, she
then,
has to be naked.
Yeah, and then, gets locked away. And then he comes back out on Halloween like fucking, I don't know, 12 years later or something. And stabs more people.
Yeah.
And that is the movie.
Well, that was a good plot summary.
Yeah.
All right,
that
everybody get
was the
that?
whole movie.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week for Halloween 2018. Fastest episode ever in the books. Nailed it.
And Jamie Lee Curtis, our scream queen, of course.
Yes, in her
Oh.
movie debut.
Mm-hmm.
All
All right, there was one concussion slur, I feel like, right there.
Yeah, one concussion slur. All right,
I
you
don't know what
caught
that
me on
was.
one. Son of a bitch. Don't worry, I'll be good. But maybe one of you guys should do most of the talking.
All right, go ahead, Michael.
I don't
What-
wanna talk
about
about-
this movie.
Michael, talk about the movie that was literally named after you.
Yes.
I was named after the movie.
Yes,
I don't think that's accurate at all.
dude, you were born in 1976. What are you talking about? This was named
Now
after
we're just
you.
giving away all my secrets
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
dude, it's
my word.
Halloween. We're freaking letting all the doors open.
Here's a movie review and 10 of Michael's biggest fears.
Well, I mean, it would be fitting with Halloween.
I'll give you 3, not 10.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. That's number 1.
No, I like those a lot, actually.
Oh, shit.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Anyway, talk about Halloween, Michael.
Halloween,
Yes.
the movie.
Yes. Who directed this one?
This one?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
John Carpenter.
Yeah, there you go.
I read things.
Ooh,
You read things?
I read.
I read the
things.
opening credits.
Yeah.
I studied them backwards.
Speaking of the opening credits, the pumpkin with in the beginning with our credits where it's supposed to kind of look like Michael Myers holding a knife.
Yeah.
I never knew that was a thing until the new movie came out and they did it like much more intentionally.
They really made it more obvious.
And then I went back and watched this one and I was like, oh, so they did it there too. I didn't even really notice that.
yeah, because they kind of zoom into it and they're like, "Do you see it? We're gonna focus on this for another couple
they definitely
minutes."
nudge it
Yeah.
a good bit.
Yeah, but like they could have tried a little harder to carve it to look a little more like a face.
Yeah, they could have written
Like,
Michael Myers underneath.
I know it's supposed to be subtle, but like, come on, they carved one pumpkin. They're like, it's good enough.
Well, I mean, their budget for this movie was $300,000. So I mean, like, they probably literally had enough money to buy 3 pumpkins, one of which they smash, one they carved, and one that Jamie Lee Curtis uses.
He carries around for a
Yeah.
bit.
So I'm like, that was their pumpkin budget.
They had a very small pumpkin budget.
John Carpenter can't paint this stuff twice.
That's where most of the budget went.
Yeah. Well, also they had to fly in leaves.
There just weren't any leaves
yeah,
at the
'cause
time.
Yeah.
They
this
weren't
was in-
filming during the
yeah.
fall.
And I think this was out in California where they were actually filming.
And
So-
everyone knows there's no leaves
Yeah,
in
California is famous for their leaf shortages. But no, but they literally had to fly in leaves to make it look like fall. So they just kept shifting the leaves from set to set to make it look like a crisp fall day.
That's fine. Was it like spring and there's like dried like leaves
Oh,
on the
yeah.
ground?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Something like that.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, no, some
nifty.
some side trivia for you from a concussed
How
guy.
nifty.
Oh.
Yeah.
Way to go. I'm proud of you, Steve.
I know a lot about this movie, except for the plot. So, Michael, tell me about the plot.
Well, after Michael Myers is introduced, then the babysitters are introduced, and then the doctor shows up. and he knows everything.
That's our plot summary.
That's-
folks.
that's
I mean,
about it.
Danielle already told me the plot summary.
That's about it.
Well, I thought we were going to take a minute to talk about the opening scene because it's one of the most iconic in horror movie history, I think.
Yeah.
Where they're showing everything POV style from fucking baby Michael Myers, and you know you get a little bit of blood, little bit of tits, little bit of stabby stab, and
They
Yeah.
just pepper
it's like
in
everything you need.
want.
Well, I mean, this movie isn't like super bloody except for like this beginning scene and the first body we see. Outside of that, it's relatively bloodless.
Yeah, they don't use a lot.
No,
Not a lot of blood.
hardly at all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, he's
Compared
an
to the
efficient
new
killer.
movies.
He doesn't bleed people that well.
Yeah. But he does enjoy good stabbing.
Oh, he's the best at stabbing.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, the opening scene, completely POVs, taking you through the outside of the house, and you're not sure exactly who is standing outside,
Right.
until you get in the kitchen and you see a little child hand, and it looks like he's in a costume, pick up a big ass knife, goes upstairs and starts stabbing his sister, who is topless.
Well, it's
Yeah,
also
yeah,
really
really
cool
see.
that like he picks up like the clown mask off the floor and they literally
Mhm.
like strap it to the camera. So
Yeah, you're looking
seeing through the
the
mask.
eyes.
It's such a cool detail that they thought of that like back then. They're like, "Oh, we're literally going to put you behind the mask of the killer and like see what it feels like."
Most all horror films, it's always about the person being chased or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know of too many instances where it's a first person view of the killer, and then it doesn't just do that in the intro. Like they keep doing it throughout the film,
Right.
which is just kind of a more unique experience because this was the first of.
Yeah, and I was going to say, if
The
any
first of these.
movie has done that afterwards, it's because of this movie. Like,
Right.
this has
Yeah.
been inspiration for so many movies that, yeah.
As it should be. They did a lot of creative things that hadn't been done.
Yeah.
Right. It's insane how much they got away with, you know, with just the premise of, oh, a guy stalks babysitters. And like it turned into this huge inspiration for
Right, and
like
it's-
Mhm.
well,
most
it's
of these
filmed-
films afterwards.
It's filmed so well, and I don't know, most of the shots seem longer than most modern films.
Right.
So there was a lot, maybe not a lot happened, but the camera moved quite a bit, and you stayed with the same kind of thing for a while.
Yeah.
But you would see, multiple things happening in the same set of space.
Right. But
I will say, sorry
No,
if
no,
I cut
go
you
for it.
off, but a lot of this movie, like 85% of this movie is just walking around, having random conversations, checking in on this person and that person and how they all feel about each other. So, like, there's definitely a lot of that. But again, horror movies were very different the time that this came out compared to now. In that, like, they didn't need constant action happening all the
Right.
time. So I guess it does, attribute to the suspensefulness of this movie, and why it creeped a lot of people out is because it kind of just seemed like you're hanging out with some friends, and then, oh my God, here comes a stabby dude.
here comes the stabby dude, like totally.
Yeah.
But yeah, so after we, see Michael stab his sister, we cut to our main characters. We get our Jamie Lee Curtis. We get her two friends. I always forget their name. Linda and Annie, I think their names are.
Something like that, yeah.
Yep, close
Um,
enough. Yep.
Yeah.
We don't care about them.
Yeah, no. Yeah, they're cannon fodder at this point. But yeah, so, Lori's starting her day. She's heading off to school. She's got to go drop a key off at the Myers place, which is like the local legend. Everyone stays away from the Myers place. She runs into the kid that she's going to babysit, and he's like, "Oh, where are you going? You can't go there. That's a haunted place." He's got a thick, like, minor accent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, "Ah, I struck gold yesterday, Laurie."
But yeah, I will say,
Shut up.
like, a lot of this is just kind of just boring dialogue. I don't know. I don't want to
Yeah,
be mean, but like, it's just
Well,
kind of
no,
boring
they
dialogue.
were literally just writing what they thought teenagers would say to fill a runtime
Mhm.
in between setting up the killer and getting to the actual kills.
Yeah, they're like babysitting, and they they're smoking, and they get in the car, and they get, out of the car, and then they go to the house, and they talk more, and then they're babysitting, and then they talk, and they talk, and they talk. And that's the middle of the movie.
My God. All right.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
That's kind of the middle of the movie.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the middle of the movie.
Well, now I don't know where to go from there. Since,
I'm sorry.
so you just kind of cut off everything.
Yeah.
But during that talking, you do, learn a little bit about the characters. Like Lori is like the mom of the group that always, does what she's told.
Yeah, she forgot her chemistry book. Her world
Right,
was ending, Michael.
She was worried about that, and then later we see her smoking a joint with her friend in the car. So like, she was cool, but like,
Dude, I've
kinda-
never.
Responsible fool.
I've never seen a person two-hand a joint and like go at it like it was like a shrimp trying to bite her. She's like, "Argh."
Well, she wasn't good at it yet.
She wasn't good at it. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was only like her second or third one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and the fact that they pull over and talk to Annie's dad, who is a cop, and they're just like, "Oh my God, like you gotta hide the weed." It's like you didn't have to pull over and talk to your dad, the cop.
He was expecting
keep
her to
driving.
show up at the crime scene,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you just happen to drive past them. Oh, gotta stop! It's mandatory.
right?
it's the law. But yeah, I don't know if you actually want to go more, or if,
Well, like-
if you just saying, "Oh, they're talking, then they get out of the car,
I
and then
just
they get
mean,
in
like-
the car, and then they get out of the car, and then they talk to their dad, and then
I'm
they."
sorry. I just mean
they-
that, like,
they're
I
token
feel
up.
like going point by point on all of their conversation topics will be a little boring.
Well, no, I just wanted to fucking set up the
Yeah.
beginning of the movie.
All right. I
But,
know. I'm sorry.
I
didn't
mean,
mean
it
to cut
doesn't
you
matter
off.
now. We're already like halfway through it.
Yeah. So the whole thing is setting up Halloween night, and
Yeah.
that there are two different houses across the street from each other. One's Tommy Doyle, and one's the
Lindsay
little
Wallace.
girl. Yeah. And they're being babysat by Jamie Lee Curtis and her friend. And yeah, the whole beginning and, them talking all night, is just setting up that they're going to be there that night. They're probably going to hang out at some point.
They're
Yeah.
all gonna try and sneak off and do their boyfriends,
Right.
as you do in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and of course, Jamie Lee Curtis is like, well, I'll be the responsible one. Bring all your kids to me. Like, I'll take care of them. But like all throughout, the beginning of the movie, we're just getting like small hints of what, the killer's gonna be, or like who he is, and like kind of get more backstory from him, from his doctor. And
Yeah, let's talk more about the doctor, because there is a scene also in the beginning that we kind of skipped over, where Michael Myers actually breaks out.
yeah.
You know?
Well, Donald Pleasance, he's got to be like the one veteran actor in this movie.
Mhm.
Like you can kind of tell he didn't want to be there, like through his performance. Like Dr. Loomis always just seemed annoed throughout this whole movie.
He was trying to keep him locked up, and he got out.
He's just like, fuck, I gotta say more lines. You're not paying me enough for this shit.
Michael, do you have anything?
Yeah,
to say?
you're just
About
staring at me.
Dr. Loomis?
Yeah, tell me about Dr. Loomis. What do you got on him?
What do I got on
Yeah,
Dr. Loomis?
Yeah, what did your
I don't
personnel
know.
file say?
Personnel file. He seems like a doctor the whole time, but he's
seems
not
like a
particularly
doctor.
good at any of it, because he gets him with as a kid, and then he promptly tells you, after a few years, I'd given up.
Oh, he tried.
So he's
he
like, I
tried
tried.
for 8 years. That's a lot of years.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. But he gave up, and then he switched his stance, and we need to keep him locked up.
Yeah, but I just want to know, what did he find out? If Michael doesn't talk and he didn't do anything, how did he know that he was so evil?
It's all in the eyes. The devil's eyes.
Yeah, he does kind of say.
Oh, I just looked in his eyes and I knew he
Behind-
was a devil child.
Dude, I
Behind
look
those
in Michael's
child-
eyes and I just see murder.
No,
Yeah.
I'm a nice fella.
Yeah, I'm sure you
We're
will.
talking
realize-
about this Michael.
I'm a real nice fella.
He has the blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
Might have brown,
I don't know. From here, they look scary.
because I'm full of poo.
Yeah, is that how it works?
That's what my
So
mom
your hair
always
is going to be
said.
turning brown.
Because you're full of shit.
Full of
'Cause I'm
it.
full of turds.
But yeah, so, like Dr. Loomis doesn't seem particularly good at being a psychiatrist.
We see him. He's in the car with the nurse.
Yeah.
And he's super rude and dismissive and just generally like, and he wasn't driving either. See, he was getting driven and being a dick.
They show up in the middle of the night. It's pouring down rain. Like, why are they showing up then and not like 9 a.m. the next day? Like,
well, you know, it's the element of surprise. Surprising
yes.
Michael.
We come in at 2 a.m. They'll never see us coming.
Well, I know we're legally allowed to be here, but they'll never see it coming at 2 a.m.
Well, they're talking in the car. It sounds like they have to take him to court or something.
Yeah. Or
like
well, I think
what do I give him when we take him to court?
Yeah.
He says thiazine or whatever. Like, he won't be able to barely sit up. That's the idea.
Give that guy some Molly. Turn on the EDM and watch him dance. It's just Michael Myers in the middle of the courtroom, like dancing,
stabbing people.
Drop the bass.
All right.
He never makes it to his court dance appearance.
No, he does not.
Thankfully,
Breaks
for
out.
the sake of all the people that watch the movie.
He starts a prison break.
Yeah, so they all get out somehow. Don't really explain that. And the girl turns to Loomis and is like, are they supposed to let them out like this?
Yeah, honey, it's recess at 2 a.m.
They let him roam around.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Free range psych patients.
Well, you got to keep them free ranged. I like my psych patient cage free. It's a fresher start to my morning.
Oh God. But yeah. So. I'm having trouble getting through this. Okay, so.
Well, I mean, it's fine if we don't hit at all the points, like, and because I mean, this is the original. Like, I'm
sure
even people who haven't seen this movie know what this movie is.
Right.
So, like, I'd be fine if we just talk about like the points that we like, or like certain like.
Yeah, we are professionals over here, folks.
Yeah, we are very professional. well, when we get to the newer ones, then we can kind of like dive more in depth. But like,
there's more going on.
Yeah,
the story.
Like, I mean, it's like you literally covered in about 3 seconds. Most of the plot is teenagers talking about being teenagers.
Yeah. So yeah, all that set up with them going to the mental hospital is saying that Michael got out. He jumps on top of their car and smashes the window and gets inside and drives away. And apparently he knows how to drive, even though he's been
yeah, well, that's another thing that they like. I think Halloween fans still are like debating about, like, how the hell does Michael know how to drive?
Well, the only thing Dr. Loomis states later when he's talking to that fella outside the building, he's like, he kind of almost accuses one of them of teaching him how to drive.
Right.
So, but
like,
that's not concrete evidence for either or.
Well, Michael, you've been on your best behavior.
That's the only other time they mention it in the film.
Right.
How about we teach you how to drive a stick shift, buddy? And he's like, sorry.
Now put your foot on the gas.
Now you're gonna want to shift it into first gear. Use your left foot to hit the clutch. Oh my God!
Learning to drive with Steve.
Fucking
and Michael Myers.
Driver's Ed with Michael Myers
and Steve.
Oh my God! You're like, hey Michael, what do you like? What do you want on the radio? Not a very talkative guy, are you?
Say something, Michael.
Say something, why don't you? Dr. Zarkan asks.
Oh God.
Oh my God! But no, like I do think it was like something you don't get from these other like early slasher movies like Nightmare or Friday the 13th. Like it's more atmospheric setup with Michael Myers. Like, yeah, they show him from like the beginning and they kind of show you him in the neighborhood as Laurie's walking around. But like, you know, with like Friday the 13th, you just get like the camera showing you him killing. Like, you don't actually see Jason or Jason's mom walking around. Like this, you actually see Michael Myers like stalking his victims, like
and
chasing them through the town and like even driving to stalk them. Like he's putting in the work.
Yeah, and they do the classic. He goes around the corner and he's never to be seen again.
Right.
So they do the classic things like that, showing the villain, but they did so much more than the usual at the time.
Right.
And it really, like, how many times do you see the killer in a slasher film chasing somebody in a car, and
Right.
and it wasn't like, oh, it could have been him. It was like, no, that's Michael
That's him.
Myers
Yeah, it's
in the
clearly
car. He's
some
looking
guy.
at them on purpose.
Yeah.
And yeah, you see him so many times. So
And like him out in the, out in the yard, and he's like standing behind like the laundry drying, and like he's just staring up at Laurie in the window, and you're just like, oh shit. So he doesn't even care that it's like, midday,
Right,
like
two in the afternoon.
yeah, like people are home. He's just like, nah, I'm gonna stare at this girl real quick.
And I like that Laurie sees him a few times, but she dismisses it and is like, no, it's whatever. And then Tommy sees him, and she's like, shut up, you little turd. You don't know
Right.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, like this little kid is trying to warn her constantly, like,
Yeah.
hey, seriously, he was carrying a body across the street, and she's like, you don't know what you're talking about. Read your comic book, toots.
And then it happens 4 more times. Still isn't convinced.
I gotta go smoke a cigarette. Leave me alone.
And then she actually sees him and she agrees with the kid really fast.
Yeah, she's like, oh shit, Tommy was right.
Do as I say.
Do as I say. Go upstairs. Lock the door. There's a scary man. He's walking across the street. He was about 2 inches behind me, but now he's not all of a sudden.
Then just a bit later in that sequence, I really like when Laurie's in the closet.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she like ties the handles, and you're like, oh, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
I liked how they showed like him smashing through the door.
Right.
And, closets are used quite a bit in horror films. And most of the time, either, he goes in or they pull the victim out.
Right.
And in this one, she fought back, and that didn't happen too often.
Yeah.
But she a couple of times did visible damage to him.
Right. I mean, I didn't think a hanger could be that, like,
Poke,
freaking deadly.
get poked right in the forehead. That would suck.
She's like, my forehead.
She did. She poked him in the forehead with something.
He got poked a
I
little.
always thought she got him in, like, the eye or something. I thought that would be, like, the only reason he would, like, draw back like that.
No, she got him in the neck with that
Yeah, those
Knitting
sewing
needle.
knitting needle.
Well,
Knitting needles.
what did I say? Sewing needles?
Knitting.
Knitting needle.
Knitting needles. Well, I mean, I know you have a bunch of those, so I'm not going to get on your bad side, because apparently you can just jab somebody
'em
in
in
the
necks.
jugular.
Yeah.
You can just put 'em
Also,
in
you
necks.
can do it with a nail file. That's what Black Swan taught me. Anyway.
Oh, shit.
Not supposed to be learning those things in films. It's entertainment, Danielle. Goodness.
That movie was about the pressures of performing, not about stabbing people with
Or
nail files.
scissoring. Ugh.
Join us next week for Black Swan.
But yeah, there's also the scenes where he's killing the other babysitters and the boyfriends of the babysitters. And besides stabbing, he does like to choke people.
Yeah, he does a significant amount of choking.
Yeah,
there's
there's
a
a
lot
good
of
bit of choking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not like Jason where he's like, oh, I got my machete or I got like some chainsaw randomly. Like Michael pretty much just whatever happens to be around him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he never seemed like a one weapon
One-trick
kind of
pony.
guy. Yeah.
He does multiple.
Yeah, like he's squeezing heads, he's fucking plucking eyeballs out.
Through the course of all
Yeah.
the movies made, he gets pretty creative.
He kills a girl, I think in the 4th one, with a shotgun, but not by shooting her, by stabbing her
With
into
a
the
shotgun.
wall
Yeah,
with
I
a
remember that
shotgun. Like that's badass.
Yeah. And I can't wait to get to the next ones because he does get really creative. But I do feel like this kind of establishes that, he did happen to pick up a knife and he stabs a bunch of people, but he also chokes them with his hands or with the phone cord or anything he can find, really.
Right.
Any way to get that sweet murder, you know?
They
Get
they-
that sweet murder.
Yeah.
they established that there could be something supernatural about this guy because just the way he's described as evil, like a professional
Right.
doctor would be like, he has this, not he's evil.
Yeah, and it's kind of like it's a cool way of doing that without blatantly coming out and being like,
Or picking
there's
one
a supernatural thing.
Then pigeonholing yourself into one category by
Right.
saying, okay,
Oh, he's
it's
got
this type of-
schizophrenia, or
yeah.
he's got this, or
They
he's got
keep it
that.
vague enough that
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could
it's
be
just
anything.
he's pure evil, and like it's cool. Like we don't really get villains like that. Like we're like, oh, Freddy Krueger, oh, he just got burned, he was a bad guy. Like oh, Jason, he was just a kid who drowned, and then you get Michael Myers, like, oh, this kid was fucked. from like minute 1.
Right.
He was just born evil.
He came out the womb evil.
He was stabbing bitches from the time he could pick up a knife.
Yeah. Well, I like that. It's some quote from one of the later sequels, but they're just like, yeah, on Halloween night 19 whatever, like he picked up a knife and he never put it down again. And it's like, oh sure, okay, all right, Mikey Myers.
Do 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 do, and then the music plays.
Yeah.
Sticking people to walls since
Oh my God.
'78.
That's still my favorite kill on Bob. When he just comes out of that closet and he choke slams him into the wall and just picks him up, and you're like, how the fuck is this dude so strong? Because like when you see Michael Myers on screen, like he's not like big.
No,
He's
they-
not like
they didn't have a
burly
huge guy
dude.
do
Yeah,
the
no.
first one.
He's
Yeah.
like, he looks like you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Skin and
I
bones.
appreciate it.
What a
Skin and bones, he
coincidence.
says. Skin and bones. Wow.
Huh.
Wow.
It seems a little too coincidental. I
Clues are
think
adding up.
I think
Steve's
this
looking-
Michael might be Michael Myers.
Steve's
Well-
looking like he's ripe for a wall sticking.
Well, instead of the Halloween special this year, you'll get to witness our deaths. Will we make it to next episode? Find out.
Join us on Twitch as we live stream
As we die.
our murders.
We'll have to leave it recording all week because you'll be dead, so you won't be able to turn it on.
Yeah. No, just keep it going, preemptive. And people will just tune in periodically. It's like, oh, are they doing it yet? No,
Oh, just
not
background
yet.
conversation.
They're still doing a podcast. That's fucking weird.
What are they doing? I think they're throwing things at the cat.
Oh my God.
Oh, Michael picked up a knife. Oh, it's going down.
Oh, here we go.
Well, all right. I do kind of want to talk about like the timeline in these movies. Now, I get, there's a lot of different.
It's not a perfect timeline.
Yeah, no, and there's a lot of different ways to watch these movies. Like what we're doing for this special this year is like the newest timeline of how to watch them. You watch the original, then you watch this newest trilogy, and they're supposed to like flow together. But like, then you got, you can watch the original one, the second one, 4 and 5, and then you're done. And then you can watch 1, 5, 6, 7, and then you're done. And then you can watch the 2 Rob Zombie remakes, and then you can watch, the original one, the second one, and then these new ones. And it's like, there's so many different ways. Like, I don't know if that like helps or hurts it, Like, I don't know if like trying to establish like a continuous storyline through these movies where like, the only like kind of through plot line through some of this other stuff, like, oh, it's just Jason is the recurring killer. Like they don't really like follow, characters throughout.
Yeah, it's
Right.
willy-nilly.
Yeah. So like that was always like my thing with the Halloween franchise. I was just kind of like, I don't know if it helps that they try to do like a continuous story and like keep the original one as canon and like try to build off of that, or if it would have been better if they did like individual movies and it just happened to be Michael Myers.
Well, the thing is, they've done both because there's so many different iterations on Halloween that, yeah, they tried to switch it up and change out the characters. And
Right.
even though it's still based around the same town for
Yeah.
most of them, it's still like they tried doing it the Friday the 13th way of just carrying the killer through the movies, and they didn't really, nothing really stuck. I feel like it was
Yeah,
always
'cause-
changed
well,
up, and
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
always came back to Laurie Strode. Like 4, 5, and 6, we follow that Jamie character, and that's Laurie's like daughter or something in that
Right.
timeline. And then like when you get to the other ones, they just know about Laurie Strode surviving,
Right.
Michael Myers' attack.
I think it's okay because it's the only recurring thing. It's like her and the killer.
Right. Okay.
But if they try to add like 5, like a main cast
right.
to go through all of it, at some point, like it would just get way too confusing.
Yeah.
And who's where and
also they did not plan this out from the beginning. Like they
so-
so
thought,
many different people
Yeah.
made these.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That obviously the ones that the individuals who made more than one, obviously those ones like the Halloween remakes.
Yeah.
I mean, those two go together fine because they were
Yeah.
made by the same guy and like.
And like
Same with
the
the
original
originals.
too. Yeah, like they were both John Carpenter.
But
so
if-
like it kind of is that same plot line.
Well, that's in back to what you were asking, that's what makes it okay that you can watch them straight through as they were created. And if you like Michael Myers and the Halloween concept, then you're going to like all of them.
Right.
Or if you want to watch it in a specific order to get a certain storyline, then you can do that too.
It's like a pick your own adventure.
And it's still and it's still the Halloween franchise, and they all do the same. Like, some of them stand out, obviously.
Right.
And some of the newer ones have been pretty good.
Oh yeah, I'm really.
But that
excited to
doesn't
get to
take
those.
away. Like, there isn't one that's like, oh, this is significantly better. It's like they're all different enough that there's positives on either side of it.
Right.
Whether you watch them straight through or for certain storylines.
Yeah, and I
that's
will
true.
say also that going back to the original is a very popular thing right now. I feel like, especially after Star Wars came out, and like they just wanted to like go back to the original and like tie everything back to the original movies. Like, I feel like that's part of it, is that around the time that Halloween 2018 came out, that was just something people were doing. But I like that they, skipped everything else, because then you don't have to be like, well, but in movie 7, they said this one thing that makes your thing make no sense.
Right.
So the only way that they could continue the movies is to just be like, all right, let's just go back to the original and try to continue it from there. Because if you
Right.
try to incorporate everything else we've done, it's just going to be too crazy. Like,
Yeah.
it's not going to make sense anymore.
And I mean, the Halloween franchise gets to like weird fucking.
Yeah.
Like a cult gets involved, I think,
The-
at some point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
There's
like
some crazy
what about
stuff
like the
in there.
H2O?
Yeah, and then that's the other plot line you can follow, like
Yeah.
1, 2, then H2O and all that shit. And it's like they never really knew where they wanted to go. They were just like, we just want Michael Myers to keep showing back up,
Yeah.
because like I
Which
know,
is fine too.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
dude,
Totally
he's,
fine.
He's one of the best. But like I know when they were originally talking about this idea, like this was just going to be a standalone thing, and then if they continued the Halloween franchise, it was going to be like different Halloween themed stories. Like it wasn't always going to be Michael Myers. It was going to be kind of like what they did with the third one, where it's like the evil masks are killing kids, and like they were going to do like an anthology type thing.
Yeah, but see, I wouldn't like that, because if it's not Michael Myers, I don't want to watch it.
Well, that's why they brought him back after the third one, because they were like, yeah, people don't like this. They only want to see Michael Myers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if he didn't get like that sequel, or if he didn't, or if they didn't do that like stinger ending where he gets up and leaves, like, and then Halloween 2 was like a different story, do you think it would have been as like you wouldn't have liked it as much, or maybe it would have been a little different?
That's very hard to say, because there are so many Halloween movies that I've seen, and he's such a big character now that I
Yeah.
can't imagine him not being such an iconic villain
Right.
killer.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, and it's hard to see this movie without him,
Yeah.
or like continuing without him.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
It's like doing a Jason movie without Jason.
Just make a new guy that stabs people.
Oh, this is
Mm-hmm.
Carl. He also
fine.
wears hockey masks.
As long as Carl goes hard, we'll watch it. You know what I mean? Like,
his weapon
it
of
just wouldn't-
choice is a ping pong paddle.
Yeah. It just wouldn't be Halloween without Michael Myers.
Yeah. Well, he became literally the face of a holiday. Like the movie's literally named for the holiday. Like he's one of the most iconic. Like first to do
yeah,
it.
definitely had a significant impact on popular culture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd have thought a William Shatner mask would have taken off that freaking far?
It all comes back to Shatner.
There's something on the wing. There's a pumpkin being carved.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
well, all right. You brought up Shatner. I had to do it. I had to give it to you.
Oh. Well, do you want to talk about the final scene anymore?
Well, all right. So I think the chase maybe goes a little too long.
Okay.
I remember
Without-
it being longer for some reason.
Yeah, like it always feels long for some reason. Or like it felt longer. And then when I watched it this time, it seemed like it was wrapped up. I don't know if it's just I'm so used to watching this movie. But like...
You're also a little concussed.
Yeah, that too. But yeah, like the end chase always just seems like long. Like I like when they do like the little breaks where she gets him with the knitting needle, and she gets him in the closet, and then like he gets up again, and it's like
stabs him.
yeah, but like from her being chased from the neighbor's house all the way back to her house or to the babysitting house, that's like 30 minutes of this movie, and that's like most of the movie is just them being chased back and forth.
Yeah.
So it's like it just seemed it's a little long, but like it still kind of keeps you invested, like with those little beats where like she stabs him here and you're like, oh sweet, they're safe, and it's like no you came up the stairs again.
Yeah, but I feel like it also, I don't know again if this was one of the first horror movies around this time to make the suspenseful aspect of like seeing the killer in the background while our main character is just like looking off into the distance, and he's like slowly coming up behind her, and the whole time you're going, turn around. Because they do that a lot, especially in this end sequence where she stabs him and he's down on the ground, and you're like, stab him again. And she's just like, nah, I'm gonna walk away for now.
La-di-da.
But
I guess he's dead.
I think what allows it to be kind of a drawn out process is he is on the screen a good amount of that time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see he'll be like around a corner or just pass each other, just miss and things like that, because he's trying to be quiet, so
right.
He's just looking for real quiet.
But yeah, they really make him a good like presence, because he's always felt in the scenes, like especially in this end, whether you see him or not, he's somewhere there.
He's somewhere.
Because like you can kind of hear it in the background, like you hear the breathing track kind of being played like softly in the music, so like you kind of hear Michael Myers without actually seeing him. Like it's kind of cool.
And it also helps that they go do 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 do.
Well, yeah, I mean that theme music makes it scary. Like,
someone's gonna die. Turn the music on.
Like I still remember as a kid, like I was still in Catholic school. That's how young I was. Somebody started telling me about like these movies. Like they were telling me about Jason and Scream and like and Michael Myers, and like they started humming that the theme music. And even back then, I had no idea who Michael Myers was, what happens in the movie. I just heard that music, and I was like, oh, this is kind of creepy. Like, please stop singing at me, sir.
Yeah. You don't want to be in Haddonfield on Halloween.
No.
You don't want to be there.
You just can't do it.
It's a bad
You
place.
cannot
Change
do
your Airbnb plans, because
yeah, cancel that. Can you get your money back on an Airbnb? I hope so.
Within like 48 hours, I don't think so.
Oh, fuck.
they actually take your house if you don't do it. They're like, oh, we got another one, boys.
Hi, I booked a room, but I got to cancel. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you didn't read the fine print.
This is out of the 48-hour window. We're coming to take your house.
We'll need your deed by tomorrow.
If not, Michael Myers will be by. He's our loans adjuster.
He doesn't say much, but he's good at what he does.
He's effective.
They just force him to rent in Haddonfield and be like, yeah, he'll get him eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Oh, get out of my Airbnb. Starts stabbing people.
God. Was this anybody's like first horror movie that they saw?
No.
No? Well, do you remember what your first one was? Like as a kid?
The first one, it wouldn't be the first one I ever saw, but the first one where it was my idea to watch it, and I watched it by myself, was The Grudge.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that was a big one back then.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was like, ooh, spooky ghosts.
And that was the first one where I was like, I want to see that. Like, someone didn't tell me about it. I stumbled across it and was like, I want to see that one. That looks crazy. Watched it. It's crazy. Crazy.
I remember that one used to scare my one friend so bad. Like, if you even mentioned it, he got, like, freaked out. He had a thing about, like, the Asian ghost girls with, like, the black hair in front. It was a very specific... like terror, but like if he saw it, he lost his mind. Like he was out of there.
I don't really remember exactly what my first horror movie was. I will say I probably didn't see anything even close to horror until I was like 16 or 17. I didn't watch a lot of movies as a kid. Anyway, so I don't know. I feel like Insidious was the first movies I got into.
I mean, that's
really
that's not a bad one to get you into the horror genre.
I liked Insidious.
No, not bad.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, no, it's good. Maybe we'll throw that in there because I think there's 5 weeks in October, so we'll have to throw.
All
in
right,
another
don't
one.
start making promises we can't
yeah.
catch it.
He already spilled the beans about the last one. Apparently, it has to be special.
It's special.
No, well,
No.
we'll figure it out.
I don't know, but yeah, no, like this was. I still remember this as like one of the first kind of like I saw it on TV, and I was like, all right, I probably shouldn't watch this, but you know, it's Halloween. You know, you're sitting in the basement. I'm going through all my candy, and I'm like, they always have like the Halloween marathons going on. So like, I just happened to stumble upon this one, and like, you know, I've seen like Aliens, and my parents always used to make us sit and watch that one. But like, this was the first time I was like, oh shit, like people are stabbing other people. I'm like, this is nuts.
Yeah, it gets crazy.
I was like, people shouldn't do that. God said no.
I will say it's probably one of the first slasher movies I've seen when I started watching horror.
I mean, that's a super safe bet for me
Yeah.
to say that. It was probably this or Friday.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was this or Friday.
This
for
or
me,
Friday
too.
would have been the first slasher.
I still remember Friday Part 3 and Part 7 were the first ones I bought.
Oh, that started it all.
yeah,
Your
on
your
DVD.
obsession. Okay.
Yeah.
His
Well,
collection.
good to know the origins of things.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
But yeah, it's also safe to say we've seen this movie several times,
Oh,
and
yeah.
several times
Quite a bit.
together.
Yeah, I mean, this is like our Halloween tradition. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this episode is just turning into us talking about Halloween, and I love it. But yeah, no, this was always like our Halloween tradition. Like, before you were in the picture, Michael and I would just hang out, and we're like, all right, we're gonna get drunk and watch as many Halloweens as we can.
And then I came into the picture, and we kept doing
And we're
that.
like, we're gonna get
This
drunk
is
and
what
watch
we
as many
do.
Halloweens
And you
as
were
we
like, I can tolerate that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
and
not the worst thing ever. All right.
yeah.
I'll
Get
join-
drunk and
I'll
watch
join you.
some horror movies.
Yeah.
That's not terrible.
There's worse things to do.
Like they could have. We go hiking every week. Ah, shit! I need
Charles.
different friends.
Yeah. But like, you know, it was always just one of those movies that had a special place in my heart. Like it was never anything like amazing. Like I was never like, oh my God, this is the greatest movie ever made. But like just sitting there watching it and like, you know, knowing all the cues and waiting for the music to swell during those parts. Like you're just kind of like, there's just something special about Halloween. Like it's so much fun to watch.
It is.
There's several series that don't have rewatchability,
Right.
and
Like those Leprechaun movies. I can't even get through the first one.
Halloween. Like you can pick any of them and have a good time watching it.
Yeah, because it's still Michael Myers. It's still like over the top, and it's
Some is
still
just
gonna-
more over the top.
Yeah, and like you know, there's still a body count. So if you're only in these for the body count, like you're gonna get them no matter what movie you pick.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is the Halloween motif.
Yeah,
And
Stab
looking
'em.
forward to the future, our body counts, I believe, are continuing to rise with each new movie that comes out.
I
So,
believe in Halloween Kills, it's our highest body count to date
yeah.
in any of
Well,
the
I mean,
movies.
he kind of goes a little bananas.
Yeah. Oh, can't wait. All right.
Yeah,
Before we
I
get
don't
too
want to.
into
Yeah, I
that.
don't want to talk about those because I could just talk about those for hours.
Oh yeah. Tune in
But,
next week.
Next week, we're doing.
So next episode will be our Halloween 2018.
Okay.
You know, that'll be if you haven't seen that one before, I'd say definitely watch that. You know, if you're listening to this, like watch that one before you listen to us review it, because that one I will say is probably my favorite Halloween movie.
And if you haven't seen it, what are you doing with your
Yeah,
life?
seriously. And if you haven't seen
Yeah,
this
stop
one either,
pandering to people that haven't seen good movies. It's their fault. It's their fault. If you haven't seen it, too bad.
yeah, and if you haven't seen this
fuck yourself.
Halloween either, you should probably sit and watch this one too, because
Yeah. What are you doing
Yeah.
watching the new ones and not
Hey,
this one?
Right.
Well, they come out with good movies, and then you should watch them.
Yeah, and I don't want to hear, oh, it's old, I only like the new stuff. Watch the original. You'll
No,
like it.
I've always enjoyed doing that. Like
Right.
finding something, even from a different genre, and being like, "What? There's more of these? Cool.
Yeah.
Let's see how it
I'll watch
started."
it.
Yeah,
I've always
exactly.
enjoyed that journey of like, for whole series even, and then genres themselves. Like, okay, well, let's see where this horror stuff started.
Right.
Well, here we are.
There it
Yeah.
is.
Here we are.
You're like, oh, I stumbled upon Dracula for the first time. You're like, oh, sure, that's cool.
That's a wild ride.
Yeah. But yeah, so, you know, check us out again next week for Halloween 2018. We'll be continuing that. We'll go a little bit more into the plot of that one. But this kind of just turned into
I'm
us talking
excited.
about our
Probably not.
our
We're
fun.
just going to talk about Halloween for another hour and a half, and it's going to be fun. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Scary stuff.
Check back in next week for episode 2.
Goodbye.
I regret all of this.
Any of you know the story of the Haddonfield Boogeyman? A man in a white mask. Or was it more than a man?
The blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare.
There's a reason we're supposed to be afraid of this thing.
A man in a white mask.
He only knows how to keep moving and to keep killing.
Every night that he would escape,
What the hell do you do that for?
so I can kill him.
Evil dies